In 1997, a Japanese researcher made one of the most important discoveries in aging biology. He found a protein, a single protein, that when disrupted in mice caused them to age rapidly and die young. And when this pathway was enhanced, the biology shifted into the opposite direction. Long life, better function, stronger organs, sharper resilience. It has been almost 30 years. This protein is now one of the most studied molecules in the longevity science. And most people have never heard of it. Most doctors have never mentioned it. And your levels of it may already be declining. It's called Klotho, named after the Greek goddess of fate, the one who spins the thread of life. And today, I'm going to explain why this molecule may become one of the most important targets in the future for longevity medicine. I'm Dr. Richard Visser, Doctor of Chiropractic, PhD in Health Sciences, and former Minister of Health for Aruba. And when one protein shows up in kidney aging, brain aging, cardiovascular disease, muscle regeneration, and now gene therapy research, I pay attention. You should too. Let's get going. Klotho is a protein produced mainly in the kidneys and in the brain. It exists in two major forms. One form stays attached to the cell surface. The other form, called Soluble Klotho, circulates through the body and acts almost like a systemic longevity signal. And this is where it becomes fascinating. Klotho is not doing like one thing. It's doing many things at the same time. It helps to regulate phosphate metabolism. And we're going to come back to this, so remember this, phosphate metabolism. It protects the vascular system from calcification, right? Good. No one wants hardened arteries. It supports kidney function. It influences insulin and growth factor signaling. It helps reduce oxidative stress. It supports brain function, and it appears to influence pathways connected to cellular stress resistance, inflammation, and aging. So when Klotho declines, the body does not just lose one protective mechanism, it loses an entire network of protection. No bueno. So let's start with the brain. I think that's a good place to start. Klotho supports synaptic plasticity. This means the brain's ability to form, strengthen, and maintain connections between neurons. Extremely important as we age. This is the foundation of learning and memory. In 2023, researchers published a study in Nature Aging showing that the single low-dose Klotho treatment improved memory performance in aged macaques, non-human primates, much closer to us in biology than mice. It improved their cognition. That matters because many things improve mouse cognition. Far fewer things improve cognition in aged primates, right? They're closer to us. But Klotho did. This does not mean Klotho is an Alzheimer treatment today, but it does mean Klotho is one of the most interesting neuro-longevity targets we have. Klotho was originally discovered through kidney biology, and that still matters. Your kidneys are one of the major sources of Klotho production. As kidney function declines, Klotho declines. And as Klotho declines, kidney aging accelerates. That is a vicious cycle. And let's get back to what I said in the beginning. Klotho also regulates phosphate. Why does that matter? Well, because excess phosphate, especially from processed foods and additives, is linked to vascular calcification. And we're going to go through this. I'm going to give you a list, so stick with me. That means hardening of arteries, aging of the blood vessels, higher cardiovascular risk. So Klotho is not just a longevity protein. It is a vascular protection protein. It is a kidney protection protein. It is a mineral metabolism regulator. And when it drops, your aging biology becomes more fragile. So let's talk about the part that matters for anyone over 40. What's that? Muscle. Yes, muscle. In 2025, a study in molecular therapy showed that long-term soluble Klotho treatment in mice improved physical fitness, reduced muscle fibrosis, and improved muscular regenerative capacity. That's not cosmetic, that's functional aging. Because aging is not just wrinkles. Aging is when your muscles stop repairing, when you become fragile, right? When your bones become brittle, when your kidneys slow down, when your brain loses plasticity. This is aging. When your vascular system stiffens. Klotho touches all of these systems. That's why it's so important. And that's why this molecule matters. Here's the problem. Klotho declines with age. Yes, granted. And several things will accelerate that decline. We'll have to go through them because there's things we can do about this. Chronic kidney disease, chronic inflammation, insulin resistance. These are topics we continuously talk about. Sedentary lifestyle, behavior, high phosphate intake, and we're going to list these out. Poor metabolic health, and let me guess, probably one of the biggest ones, modern processed food diet, okay? That's your phosphate intake. The modern diet is not just high in calories, it's high in phosphate. What are the list toppers here? What do you need to really try to avoid at all costs? List toppers. Soft drinks, yes. Processed meats, packaged foods, fast foods, the usual suspects. Food additives. So, yeah, we can protect ourselves. Why does it matter? Because phosphate overload suppresses Klotho system. So when I say food is information, this is what I mean. Your diet is speaking directly to your longevity pathways. So clean up your diet. And in many people, it's telling them to age faster. Now, let's be precise with this. In humans, low Klotho levels are associated with worse outcomes. Fact, higher cardiovascular risk, more kidney dysfunction, more cognitive decline, all of the stuff we don't want, more frailty. This is all reversing the longevity, lower muscle quality, stuff we really don't want, higher mortality risk. Yeah. On the other side, the human data is observational. That means we can say, low Klotho is associated with accelerated aging. That's what we can say. We cannot yet say, all right, because we don't have enough data. Injecting Klotho into humans reverses aging. We can't say that yet. The distinction matters. The animal data is strong. The primate cognition data is exciting. The human observational data is consistent. But large human randomized trials are still needed. So we still got a little bit of time here. This is the honest scientific position, okay? Let's go over where we're now. We are entering the translational phase. Researchers are exploring recombinant Klotho proteins, gene therapy approaches, plasmid-based delivery systems, and combination with other longevity targets like follistatin. There's an early phase 1 trial registered to study Klotho and follistatin gene therapy in healthy adults between 50 and 80 years old. That does not mean this is ready for general medical use. It means the field is moving from theory into human testing. Very exciting. And that is exactly when you should start paying attention. Not because you should self-experiment, but because this may become one of the defining longevity targets of the next decade. So what can you do today? You cannot walk into your doctor's office and ask for Klotho therapy. Gene therapy is investigational. Recombinant Klotho is not standard clinical care. But you can support the biology that protects Klotho. Number 1, Zone 2 cardio. Aerobic exercise is one of the most consistent lifestyle interventions associated with healthier Klotho biology. Not overdoing it. Zone 2, 3 times a week. Sustained effort, not maximal. Specifically for Klotho. Second, reduce phosphate additives. Cut soft drinks. Cut ultra-processed foods. Cut processed meats. Read labels. If you see phosphate additives everywhere, understand what that means. That is not just junk food. That is anti-Klotho food. Third, optimize vitamin D. Klotho and vitamin D biology are deeply connected. Don't guess. Get blood work done. Get tested. See where your vitamin D is. If you're deficient, add D3, K2. Now, the K2 you add only if you're not on blood thinners and you're not dealing with cardiac issues and are on medications for that. Okay? Because then it's just D3. Fourth, lower inflammation. Insulin resistance, high CRP, poor sleep, excess visceral fat, and chronic stress all push the body towards accelerated aging. That means Klotho is not isolated. It sits inside your total metabolic environment. Fix the environment and you give Klotho a better chance. So, in closing, what can we say? Klotho was discovered almost 30 years ago. And we may now be entering an era where it moves from basic science into real longevity medicine. But for now, the message is simple. Your body already has powerful longevity systems built into it. Klotho is one of them. And the question to you is, are you protecting it? Or are you suppressing it every single day? That's up to you. The next episode in this series is on SS31, the mitochondrial peptide with serious human clinical trial data. If Klotho is the one of the system signals of aging, SS31 targets the engine room itself, the mitochondria. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And drop a comment. Have you ever heard of Klotho before? Give me a comment on that. I want to know how far this information actually reaches.